Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce, and today we're doing another indie horror spotlight. I have with us today an indie filmmaker. He directed a new movie out that I have a chance to see, and it was a fun ride. It's called Fang, and I have with us today Richard Burgeon. Richard, welcome to the Horror Room.
Oh, thank you so much for having me on, Travis.
It's an absolute pleasure, man. It's an absolute pleasure. So tell everyone a little bit about Fang.
Well, Fang is a movie that I wrote, directed, executive produced. I did part of the soundtrack for it. And what Fang is about is, in one sentence, it's about a man who is turning into a rat, or he thinks he is turning into a rat. And I wanted it to be kind of ambiguous whether he's really turning into a rat or not, but he gets bitten by the rat in his house while, like, it's late at night. The rat kind of corners him in the living room and bathroom, and then he starts noticing fur on his arms and all of that kind of stuff.
And one of the interesting things about the movie is too, he's also dealing with an overbearing mother, and some of us, some of us sons, we've all have dealt with that. Uh, Now, did you use personal experience when you decided, to have this overbearing mother who is putting all this pressure onto her son?
Yes, but the important distinction I want to make is that Gina, the mother character in Fang, who was played by Lynn Lowry, she is not completely based on my mom. She is also based on my dad and his mother. So actually, it's multiple people in my family influenced her character. So I guess it comes from both sides. The sometimes, I guess,
Yeah,
psychologically interesting approach to parenting.
yeah, because I mean, this kid, I mean, this guy, young guy, he is trying to, deal with this bit by the rat, trying to deal with this. He's trying to, figure out his own life, and then he has a mother who's also sick, and she is, yeah, she runs his life, and I mean, it's a lot that he's dealing with in this movie.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, and that was also a little bit autobiographical for me because my dad had Parkinson's, and that is like real life horror in a big way because it's like you're there, and then you're watching him deteriorate, and there's really not anything you can do. And I at that time, I was like in my teenage and college years, and I was not doing so well myself either. I was pretty mentally ill. I mean, I'm still mentally ill, but I was more mentally ill back then. I had, strong, depression, paranoia, and anxiety. And then, so that time in my life was very influential for the making of Fang. And we had, some infestations in my dad's house too. And so all of that, and not rat infestations, but it was like, seeing these insects, these spiders, all of this stuff, and the mental and physical diseases, that all was very Fang, and that definitely played a huge role in me coming up with ideas for the movie.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely adds some real life horror aspects to this movie.
Oh,
Now,
thank you.
you're welcome. And one of the things I want to say too is the actors and actresses, the gentleman who played the main character, as well as the lady who played his mother, even the one who played a nurse, they all did a great job
Oh, thank you.
um, in acting. And I mean, this movie definitely had a lot of different variables in it because it had the whole rat aspect. He was trying to find love. He was trying to find himself as a partner. I mean, as an individual, he was also trying to deal with a job and get financial, deal with finances as well.
Unfortunately, he didn't deal well enough with finances, although he probably would have still had some issues, given that he
Yes.
was turning into a rat, and I don't know how much money you need to stop turning into a
Yes.
rat.
Now, now, the effects with his arm, was that all practical effects?
Oh yeah, no, there was no CGI in the movie unless you count the text and the credits. That was the only thing that was computer generated for Fang. All of the special effects in the movie are practical effects, and I'm really happy with the work that was done by Caitlin Young, our special effects artist. She did a phenomenal job, and really
Amazing.
everyone in the cast and crew did a phenomenal job. I mean, I honestly can't take too much credit for it just because, I worked with so many incredibly talented people on Fang, and really what the director does on a movie, I think somebody made the comparison once, is that the director is like a general in the military. They kind of have to oversee the operations, and the director, in theory, is supposed to know a little bit of everything. Although I think every director has one aspect of filmmaking that they know more about, and other aspects that they don't know as much about. And so I think what was very important, for me in making Fang, because this is the first feature film that I've made, is that for the aspects of filmmaking that I didn't know as much about, I wanted to make sure find the right people, work with them, and be able to communicate and convey what I want in a very effective way. And I like to think that that worked well.
Did an excellent job, and I
Oh,
didn't know
thank you.
this was your first film. It was an amazing job, especially in the
Oh,
first
thank
indie
you
film.
so much.
Now, what were some, despite this being your first feature length film, what were some struggles that you ran into as a new indie filmmaker?
Well, I'll put it like this. I started writing the script for Fang in March 2019, and I'm still finishing up the release of it now. So I think just the amount of time that goes into it is something that people underestimate, because when you watch the movie, and you see this and it's like 98 minutes, it's something, and movies seems like something that goes by fast while you're watching it. But the actual process of making Fang, especially without a significant budget, is that, everything takes longer if you don't have a lot of money to make it go faster. And my producer, Robert Felker, put it really well. He said that, you have three different things in filmmaking. You can get it done fast, you can get it done well, and you can get it done cheap. Pick two out of the three, because you can't get all three.
I've definitely heard that. I've definitely heard that, and it's true.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
definitely true. Now, so what made you decide? You know what? Fuck it. I want to go ahead and make a indie horror movie. What? Because I mean, I'm one of the people. I'm like, I'm a huge horror fan, but the idea of going out and making a movie sounds absolutely terrifying to me. So, what got you into that mindset? You're like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and do this.
Well, I mean, if I'm being completely honest, a lot of it was probably because of my ego, or at least my ego before I started making Fang, because, and this is something I think I said offhandedly once, is that the film industry is run on vanity. Basically, people want to get into this to be a star in one sense or another. And at least when I was younger, I was definitely thinking of myself that way. I'm thinking, I really want to prove myself. And this is, 20-year-old insecure, mentally ill Richard talking, saying, I want to be famous. I really want to prove myself. And if I've learned anything from the years of making Fang, is that, I don't really think that way anymore. I think, what matters is really the movie. It doesn't matter, like, the attention you get for it doesn't matter as much, and you got to make sure you're doing it for the right reasons, or else, you're not going to stick with it. So I think eventually I kind of got over myself and I decided, you know what, I'm not going to give up on this. You know, I'm passionate about movies and I really want Fang to succeed. I want it to get finished. And so, you know, I think you just have to stick with it and until it's done.
So now it's on Prime, it's on video demand. Does it feel like a big weight is lifted off your shoulder, or is it now a new pressure is added on trying to get it promoted and trying to get people to see it?
Definitely new pressure.
I can imagine. I can imagine because
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
because I mean, yes, making the movie is the toughest part, but getting it, the marketing aspect, the people
Oh
getting
yeah.
out there to seeing, that's a whole nother animal because there's so many indie horror movies out there
Oh
right
yeah.
now.
No, and I didn't even realize how many of these movies existed until Fang was on Amazon Prime with about 10,000 other low budget horror movies. So that's something I'm still figuring out now is how to convince enough people that Fang is something special and that, you know, it's worth it to watch it. And I always like to say, you know, Fang is 98 minutes long. If you don't like the first 10 minutes, you don't have to watch anymore. That's my new slogan.
Oh, yeah. No, but it is a fun movie.
Oh,
It's
thank you.
yeah, it's definitely a fun movie. It's And like I said, it adds some real aspects to it. I mean, like for me, it related. I said now I'm going to my personal life. Like it related to me because like my father died when I was 15 years old.
Oh, I'm
So
so sorry.
yeah, and then like my mom was like sick for years before she passed away, and this was
Wow.
mostly in my 20s and 30s. So like dealing with that aspect, especially as a son, I feel like a lot of pressure gets put on the son, especially with a mother who is sick, and this highlights it because when people are sick, even your loved ones, they can be nasty
Oh
sometimes.
yeah. No, I
They can
mean,
be
in my
absolutely
experience, it
nasty.
it can definitely bring out the worst in people in some cases, which is not a very politically correct thing to
To
say because
say
of course, yeah, if somebody has
yes.
like a major disease, you don't want to, you know, look at them negatively. But yeah, that was my experience with my dad too. Well, he had Parkinson's, is that our relationship deteriorated, and that was why, you know, I think I had one line in Fang where Billy says, where he's talking about his mother, Gina, he says, she wasn't always like this. And so I think, and that's probably one of my favorite lines that I wrote because I think it adds, you know, new context to Fang in that, you know, Gina Lynn Lowry's character has not always been, you know, a monster. She hasn't always been the way she is now. In fact, she used to even be glamorous when she was younger,
Hmm.
but now, you know, everything has changed, and that is the ultimate, you know, impact of Parkinson's or any other, you know, terminal illness is that it completely reshapes your life and it takes away a big part of who you are.
I 100% agree. I 100% agree. Now, making this when you were making this movie, how many times were you trying to reshape the movie? Did you? I know you were the writer as well, but how many times did you do a script change, or like what, I don't want to do this ending, I wanted to switch this up? How many times would you say?
Well, that is a great question, and actually, the script stayed pretty consistent past a certain point. There were a couple of changes. There's one scene near the end of Fang where Billy and Gina are arguing over, you know, who emptied the dishwasher. Gina saying that Billy, you didn't empty the dishwasher when you were supposed to empty the dishwasher, and Billy says, "We don't have a dishwasher, Mom," and that is that is one change that was made to the script because of the location, in that the house we were filming in did not have a dishwasher. And honestly, that was, that was not the way I wrote it, but I am really happy with that change because it adds an extra layer of insanity that they are arguing over emptying this dishwasher that doesn't
Imaginary
even
dishwasher. Yeah.
exist.
Yes. Yes. Listen, it is. I'm gonna tell everyone this is a movie. Now, listen, this movie doesn't have tons of gore in it, but one thing that disturbed me about this movie, I'm gonna go back to the special effects on the main character's arm when he's squeezing it and squeezing out. It is yuck. It is whoa.
Oh, thank you.
With that nasty fucking arm, man. But the other thing about this movie was too, from beginning to end, I wasn't sure what direction this movie was going. I really wasn't, because without giving anything away, you get to see him looking at this dead thing constantly, and you're like, why is he keep? What is drawing him to that? Why did he keep thinking that? And then as
No,
the
my
movie
girlfriend and
progressed,
I were kind of joking that I feel very drawn to grotesque things. So that's a very Richard Bergen idea, to have shots of a decomposing rat repeatedly.
yes, yes, I was like hoping myself, like, I hope he's not gonna eat that fucking rat. Like, that's why I was. I'm not saying if he ate it or not, but I'm saying the whole time I was like, I hope he don't eat that
No,
fucking
yeah, you don't want
decomposing rat.
that.
Yeah. So who are some horror directors or filmmakers that you got inspiration from?
Well, the interesting thing is that since my parents were a little bit more strict in terms of the movies I was allowed to watch growing up, I didn't actually watch a lot of horror when I was very young. The first horror movie I saw was The Shining when I was like, it was like in my very early teenage years. And, that made a really strong impression on me. I was kind of like, whoa, because I had never seen anything like
Yeah.
this before. And, kind of the claustrophobia of being, well, it's interesting because it's not exactly claustrophobia because they have this huge space, theoretically, but it feels, like being trapped in this
Tight.
place. So that
Yeah.
definitely, that made a strong impression on me, and that kind of began my descent into horror.
Awesome. Awesome. So would there be a Fang 2? Or are we just gonna or are we gonna be moving on to something new?
Well, I wouldn't rule it out. I want to see, how big of an audience Fang can build, because then a couple of people I've talked to have said that they think that Fang, the audience will grow over time. And, I'm optimistic enough to believe that will be the case, that it will gradually develop a cult following, or a bigger cult following. I guess now the cult is me and a couple of other people, but soon it will be a bigger cult. And then, I'll start to think about, what can we do with these characters now. And I guess Billy could get better,
Yes.
and but with that, maybe without really getting better. And
Yes. And just keep it going and just keep it going. All right,
Oh yeah.
Richard, I'm pretty sure you watched my show. So now we're going to shoot to the fun part of the interview where I'm going to ask you
Oh,
three
cool.
horror questions. You ready?
Yeah, shoot.
All right. First horror question. Which horror character do you personally feel like you connect with? And you feel
Oh,
like,
that is a
I
good
see a little bit
question.
of myself in them.
Well, I can't say Fang because that's the obvious answer. So I guess
Hmm.
I can say the second most obvious answer, which would be Norman Bates.
Oh, overbearing parents. See?
Yeah.
Yes. And here's the thing too. Mothers don't realize that they can turn their son into a fucking serial killer just like that. A mother can. Boom. Overbearing mothers, you can turn your son into a serial killer just like
Good
that.
parenting advice.
Every single, but if you notice, every single not every single, but a lot of them, Michael Myers, Jason,
Oh
Norman
yeah.
Bates, Letterface, all of them
Some kind of
have
family trauma.
they have an overbearing mother.
Oh yeah.
Yes. See.
And the whole Michael Myers thing is really interesting, because I live in Illinois, and so it captures that very like suburban, Illinois kind of feeling. And then he's just like, he is somebody who would be shunned by this kind of, community like Haddonfield.
Yes.
And then he kind of comes back to get revenge against the world that shunned him.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I can relate to that a little bit too. Hopefully not that far gone.
I'm trying to think who could I see now. I just asked you this question. I'm trying to think. I never asked anyone this question. I'm trying to think who do I relate with. I don't know. I'm gonna have to say. See, Norman Bates is a good one. I mean,
No,
am I Norman?
okay. You could say Norman Bates too. He's a very relatable
Yeah,
character.
I'm gonna say it might be Norman Bates. I might be Norman Bates. That's
We're on Team
I might
Bates.
see, but it's Norman Bates or Jason. It's one of the two. I relate to one of those two. Definitely Jason
Yeah,
or
that
Norman
makes
Bates.
sense.
Yeah, I would say one of those two. All right, second question. Okay, if you could remake any, if some big movie studio came to you right now and said you can remake any iconic horror movie, which one would it be?
Oh, that is a really good question. I'll have to think on that a little bit. Because
Okay,
I'm always like, it's for years I've just been focused on, got to get Fang finished, got to get
yeah.
Fang finished. So yeah, that is a really good question. I'll think on that a little bit. And what would you
But
say while I'm thinking about it?
if I could do one, I would do either Prowler, or I would do, and it's been done before, but I will do a better version, and that's the Hitcher. I love
Oh yeah,
both of
that's a
those
good
movies.
choice.
I love both of those movies, and I feel like they
Well,
need.
hitchhiking is so creepy too.
It is. It
Yeah.
is. But I don't know if you can do the Hitcher in 2024 because do people still hitchhike?
I guess you'd do it like with Uber or something.
That's true. I would have to do like a ride share.
Oh yeah.
What is okay? While you're thinking about that one, I'm gonna shoot to the third question. What is one horror movie series that you wish they would stop making movies?
Oh, that is well, honestly, as a filmmaker, and this is probably going to be a controversial take, but I would say that, they can keep making as many movies as they want, even if I think the movies suck, because, it gives people new opportunities. It creates a lot of jobs for people in the film industry, and one person's, shitty reboot
But I mean, as
third
a fan,
removed is like, that's another person's like, I'm
but as a
getting
fan,
my big shot.
no, but I'm saying as a fan, like
As
take
a
yourself
fan, yeah.
as a fan, what horror movie series do you like? Please don't make any more, or this is a great ending to a series. I wouldn't want to see another movie because this is a perfect ending.
Well, I would hope that Halloween ends as the ending of Halloween. If not,
I
and
do
I'm
too.
not sure if that actually will be
It
the
won't be. It
ending.
won't be.
Probably
It won't be.
not.
I'm hoping, and I'm a huge Halloween fan. I hope Halloween is done in my lifetime. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? In my lifetime, I'm 41. I'm hoping I got another 40 years. I hope in my lifetime there's not
that's
another
it. That's all.
Halloween movie.
Yeah, I mean, well, I guess the next one will be Halloween ends. Haha. No.
Yeah, there's definitely. I feel like there's gonna be another Halloween movie in the next 5 years. I feel like. I feel
Oh
like
yeah, I'm
I really
sure.
do. So, any chance to think about that one?
Oh yeah, which one would I remake? Well, I think like with some of the old, yeah, like the first thing that popped into my head for some reason, and this is like probably the most remade movie of all time, but I think I, I could do a version of Dracula and make it really interesting. I feel very drawn to like the vampire world, so I guess that's one movie that I think it justifies being remade repeatedly, because it's such an epic story. And if I had, if I was given the means, I would be like, yeah, I'm going to Transylvania. I'm going to try to do my own take on it that's somehow that different from all the other ones.
That's a good one because we do need a
Oh,
modern
thanks.
day. We do
Yeah.
need a modern version of Dracula. You know what I mean? We do need I say a modern, a classic modern version of
Oh,
Dracula
yeah.
story. Because I mean, we've had a lot of vampire movies. Some were good, some were bad. But Dracula, what was the last time? I think Dracula 2000 was the last Dracula movie
Oh,
that
wow.
was
I
made.
didn't know it had been that long.
I think that was the last one that was an actual Dracula
That's
movie.
pretty wild.
Yeah, but we've had tons of vampire movies, but actual Dracula, I think, is Dracula 2000. Yeah, I think that was the last one,
Well, I
which
guess
I
that would be
actually love that movie.
Dracula 2025.
Something, you know, right? Richard, where can everyone find you, my friend?
Oh, you can look me up on Facebook, Richard Bergen, Burgin, or if you want to watch Fang, you can look it up on Amazon Prime or Vimeo on demand. It is Fang 2022, and you'll see my name pop up on it along with the lead actors Dylan LeRae, Lynn Lowry, Jess Paul, and Tom White. And I hope that everybody who was watching this interview has found what I have said about Fang to be somewhat intriguing, and I hope you have a fantastic time watching the movie.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Everybody, check out Fang on Amazon and Video
Well, thank
Demand.
you.
It is a fantastic ride.
Well, thank you so
Richard,
much, my friend.
Richard, it's been an absolute blast, man. Listen, I'd love to have you back on in the future. So
Yeah, it
please,
sounds
got anything
great.
else? Come back on, man. Come back on.
I'll be
All right.
back.
Most definitely, most definitely. Everyone, thank you for coming to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce. I'm gonna see you guys next time. Take care.
Bye.